Hey, Prime Roasters, welcome to episode 30. Chris and I have been missing you, so much so that Chris actually grew facial hair for this very audience. What do you think?
Uh,
Comment.
it's
Everyone, put your thoughts on the comments.
yeah, it's been a while, so I thought I'd just grow a little something to show you how long it's been. We missed you.
Absolutely. See, now, Chris, a goatee is certainly the identifier for conservatives and Republicans, whereas one of the stories we're about to cover, purple hair. Anti-ICE protesters are all over Newark and other parts of our country. I don't know anymore. I can't figure out, I don't know what's up and what's down these days. We're so divided as a country that I just, I'd like to kind of find some sort of middle ground. And I noticed that when we actually talk to people, they're like, I actually agree with that. And I think, liberals are very just moldable, right? Clearly, because they're able to be molded by the left all day long. Why don't we try maybe molding some of the young minds, Chris? Maybe we should go to these anti-ICE protests and see what they're actually about, because we roast them all day long, but why not try talking to them?
That would be fun, and that's been done. I've seen it before, and it's very difficult, but it's always worth a few laughs. Did you see the one where I guess the Newark mayor was there and he was arrested?
Uh, who didn't see that one? Not just him. I mean, there's a bunch of people in trouble because of that protest.
Well, it gets worse because he wasn't the worst of the offenders. Yes, he was trespassing, and yes, he was causing problems, and he deserved to be arrested because he was trespassing on that property. However, watch this very loud or recently very loud, annoying congresswoman named oh gosh, what's her first name? Her last name is McIver, and not
Hmm.
the good MacGyver, the one that can the one that's very intelligent. No, this is McIver. It's Representative Lorena McIver. You'll see her in the red shirt. She's always sticking out there. She was very loud when it came to losing her USAID money. She has a lot of photos. You'll see them on the internet celebrating USAID's money funneling into her district for her pet causes. But here she is laying hands on an ICE officer, ICE agent. Excuse me. There she is again, and if you don't notice her again, she's the one that kinda resembles that statue in the middle of Times Square now with the angry, obese black woman.
I'm about to be in Times Square. I want to go see this thing for myself.
But here she is, look at her go, and then she's screeching about how ICE are the bad guys. What are these people protesting for, you ask? I have a feeling they're asking for more MS-13 members, more Trendy. We want gang members here. And keep in mind, Newark's the town where a lot of this happens, but I distinctly remember 3 young college students came home, wanted to hang out in the playground together, and were executed by, illegal immigrant gang members.
Yeah, I don't understand why the left always takes on the rights or apparent rights of non citizens over American citizens. I just don't understand how you're going to be able to argue that with your constituents when it comes time for a reelection. If you're going to take on the safety of non citizens who are illegally here, versus the safety of Americans, it's a very hard thing to sell. And they can't really explain themselves either. I mean, Gavin Newsom, governor of California, recently switched up his stance on his open borders. He's now saying, no, we can't let any more in. They can't keep enrolling in our public schools. We have to not take care of all of their health needs and insurance. We got to stop that because the state can't afford it. Now, he's doing this because he's looking at a 2028 run for president, and he can't win over the rest of the country with this open border experiment that has been going on during the Biden administration. So I wonder how that didn't trickle down to the members of Congress who are on the left. I don't think this is a good look. I think the DOJ is going after her. And I think that, she's going to be made an example of, and she should. That's not how a stateswoman should be behaving, not on camera or ever.
Well, the problem is nobody outside of her district really cares about her anyway, and apparently going after her is not going to cause any real problems around the rest of the world. Somebody else with a higher profile is going to do it and try to use that to run for president or higher office sometime. This Lorena McIver is just going to be a flash in the pan no matter what she does. Having said that, I'm all okay for protesters. It's their right to protest. I do have one request, though, and I'm begging them all, please do not sing.
Fascism's got to go. Got to go. We say no. We say no. We say no. We say
What is
no.
this?
Fascism's got to go.
What is this? This is like the Raging Grannies or something?
Yeah, sing song is, I guess, part of the whole package, right? I mean, are they trying to relive Woodstock or some of like their Berkeley University days? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why this is good. Look, someone brought a guitar. Like, you need rhythm for this? Like, I
Well,
don't know what
they
they're
don't
even
have any rhythm.
saying.
There's no rhythm here. But the funny thing is, Angie, this is they think this is about as cool as the 1960s. They want to go out there and relive their glory years, these boomerettes, if you will. And I'm not saying anything bad about the boomer generation. It's just these are the people that are kind of still holding together this Democrat Party and what's happening here. They're losing younger voters, and
Yeah.
part of this is probably the over wokeness. The millennials they're probably getting older and realizing that their paychecks look smaller thanks to their own policies, and they're probably going to start leaning right a little bit. Gen Z is seeing what their policies have done to them, so that's why they're leaning right. But these boomers are still holding on to it because they're holding on to whatever, I guess, whatever glory days they had in the 60s. In fact, it looks like they got themselves prepared by not showering for 4 or 5 days beforehand either.
Ooh, yeah, you can almost smell them through the screen. Look, New Yorkers and by extension, those in New Jersey, some people just wake up on a Sunday morning just to go protest. It's like going out for a picnic. It's what they do. They love exercising that right. Good on them. I don't see a big crowd there. But this is their crew. This is who they hang out with. You get what they do, right, Chris? They do this for like an hour or two. They make it like a TikTok video, and then they all go for brunch. Like it's all over New York
Oh, they
City. Every time I visit,
brunch.
that's what they do. It's just like this is what they do, and it's like they feel like they did something for democracy that day.
No, no, they did something for themselves. Otherwise, they'd be out, they'd be grooming their cats or something like that. So, I guess.
Sorry.
But not to be outdone, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez decided to issue a threat. And again, I will always say this: she sounds like a child. She's a squeaky voiced little girl, and I'm okay with squeaky voices because people can't always help that. The fact is, she always acts like she's a child looking to ask for an extra cookie or something from the adults. And this is what she's doing right now. Although she's saying, well, I'll hold my breath if you don't give me another cookie. And after that, you're going to hear what Tom Homan, who was never to be intimidated, says about that.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative or any of the representatives.
You forgot them. See, we couldn't figure out her name. She doesn't even know it either.
I know, so forgettable.
You finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
Oh, we're going to have a problem. Fear, fear, tremble, tremble. Oh my gosh, little Alex is going to get mad at us and call us a name.
Yeah, she's doubling down on open borders. Remember, she is now the front runner for the Democratic Party in 2028. This just came out very, very recently. People like her. The polls are there. I'm not joking, Chris. We can laugh at it all day long, but we have to take this seriously. She could be on the ticket for 2028, and she certainly positioned herself there. She's certainly a masterful fundraiser for Democrats. So you can't discount her.
No, you have to discount her. The same reason you discount Kamala Harris. Yes, they will get their 47%. The Mitt Romney 47%. They're going to get that no matter what when it comes to Democrats. The problem is people in the middle they did not get the idea that Kamala Harris was going to be able to handle the job. She never took her campaign seriously. She cackled her way through it. She was a celebrity. She was talking about being brat, and she was on these superficial podcasts. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to run the same kind of campaign on her TikTok celebrity. She really is little more than a TikTok star that is managing to hold down a very Democrat-friendly office. And by the way, a district that's booing her at this point and upset about her for abandoning them for her TikTok stardom and her national aspirations. Problem here is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will be another Kamala Harris. She's a neat little cute celebrity, but that's about it. It's not going to happen on the big stage. The Democrats nominate the likes of her. That's an insured loss.
I don't know, Chris. I want to, give all the great MAGA talking points on her, but the truth is she is going to be a challenge. And when push comes to shove, do you think she could outtake JD Vance? That's the real question. Look,
No.
both are youthful. They
No.
are both pushing for the youth vote, right? I
pushing
think there's
for-
going to be some challenges.
They're pushing for 5% of the country. Remember, you're always going to have the people voting on one side, and there are going to be the other people voting on the other side. Yes, you have the orange man bad side going against Vance. Yes, you're going to have the 47%, as I said before, going against Vance. But it's that 5% in the middle, the ones who decide the election, that are going to look at this woman and say, she does not reek of competence. I can't see her sitting across the bargaining table with Vladimir Putin. I can't see her negotiating with the Chinese Communist Party. And now that Trump's not in office, we don't hate Trump anymore. Let's move towards Vance. At least he seems calm.
Yeah, no, this one's certainly one to watch. I've been warning my strategist, do not discount her. She's got stuff in her bag that we haven't seen yet. She's got the machine behind her. And quite honestly, Chris, all the money in the world. I don't know how she fundraises. Can't all be American dollars.
Well, keep in mind, a lot of foreign money goes into the coffers of the left. We talked about this. We're going to see what happens with the Act Blue investigation. That, my friends, is going to be very interesting. Another interesting thing happened with Macron and a bunch of, I will use the term leaders in its loosest sense, but foreign leaders during some kind of a meeting. Just watch this. This is absolutely funny. If you haven't seen this video before, you really need to watch Macron and that little white bag over here next to the water. What's in the bag? We have our suspicions, by the way. But take a look. They're walking around. They're shaking hands. They're ready to make a deal or two. They're all smiles and all happy. Macron seems very energetic for some reason. I'm not sure why. Look at him. He's all smiles. He's like, let's have some frog legs. Now, this other guy's like eyeing the bag. He's like, I wonder if he's got some for us. Now he's eyeing it too. Like, that jerk had better not ask me for any. This shit's expensive.
They're just surprised that's there. They're just like, what in the world? Your aide could not remove that from the desk before we entered the room.
He's not touch it. All right, now, and the other guy doesn't totally notice it. He's still eyeing it right here. The guy on the right or on our right is still eyeing it. He's like,
yep.
When's he gonna break it out? When's he gonna break it out? Yep. The other guy's like, I'm gonna pretend not to look at it. And this guy's like, yeah, come on. And there you go, Macron with his hand on it, like, nah, you ain't touching this crap. It's mine.
Oh no. There you go. He threw away the baggie. Oh, that was a big baggie.
Do that again. It's all right there. All right, here, let's see. There he is. He's sitting down. He sees the white bag. The other guy's looking at it like, all right. Nope. You ain't having none of this.
It is hysterical. Look, now they're all stoic. I mean, Chris, you know this. I hate to even say it. I mean, even Washington, D.C. runs on cocaine. Let's be real, okay? There's been just like so much drugs in that whole non-state. It is just so bizarre to me. It's a bunch of, a drunk, loose suit wearing 20 30-year-olds running on no sleep, and they have to be on all the time. It is just wild to see. I mean, look, I'm from New York City, so like a little baggie here or there, it's like that's like daily occurrence. But in Washington, man, that's the fuel.
You know who else must be on something, Angie? People who actually think that the South African genocide going on does not exist. And that's because they must have, I'm not saying they're on drugs, but I think they've taken too much NPR.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, I think President Trump has cut NPR from our diets, so nothing to really worry about going forward. But yeah, no, it's actually very, very troubling what's been going on in South Africa. And it's been happening a long time, Chris. I'm just surprised it's now in the news all of a sudden. It's been happening for decades. White farmers have been scared to live in their homes, they've been run out of their farms. We've been hearing these stories for a long time, but why now, Chris? Why is it so relevant in the news now?
It's only because Elon Musk said it just a little while ago, and the Orange Man bad press had to say it's a false narrative. This is something that's not happening, even though it's been going on for a very, very long time. There was even talk about it when Zuma was president. Now this guy, Cyril Ramaphosa. Cyril, that's a traditional African name, I suppose. But anyway, we'll get into that. He's their president right now, and there was a whole bunch of support for this guy. In fact, PBS, as you can see here, said that the persecution of South America's whites is a false narrative, according to the president of South Africa. And this also comes up like this. But how about that? The thing is, Musk said it was a genocide. Trump agreed with it. They've been actually, Trump mentioned this in the past. I've talked about this in the past. Other outlets have, but it never got steam up until Elon Musk said it, and all the fact checkers and the mainstream media was jumping and pouncing, saying, "Well, if the president of South Africa says it's a false narrative, then that has to be true." They don't do any investigation. Why bother doing that? Because they don't want to ask themselves into a real story. Because they don't want to. They don't want to show the world that white people and Christians around in certain areas of the world are getting persecuted and getting murdered by the dominant governments there.
Yeah, it's even worse than that. I mean, I've had friends who had to leave South Africa because one day you get a knock on the door and there's 20 people trying to break into your farm and you have no choice. The only choice is you get out and you get out now because they're there to take over the entire farm. They think the land belongs to them and they just don't care because there's no real rule of law. And when you have the president saying that that's a false narrative, it means that he's not going to be enforcing the rule of law. You can't live there. So, many have seek refuge, and President Trump has opened up the doors for for South African refugees. It is a sick situation. But we're even now seeing songs coming out, right, Chris?
Oh, that's been around
For
for
all
a long
this?
time. Kill the Boar is a long time folk song.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
But it's not folklore.
I know
I
it's a
mean,
folk song. It was kill the boar. That means to get rid. It's basically kill the white settlers, the white farmers, if you will. And this was
wow. Oh, well, look, Kill the Boar is not a struggle song. It's a threat, right? Now that it's getting replayed. I mean, you're talking about the murdering of white South African farmers and South African citizens there. How they can wrap this up to folklore and use a folk song, I don't know.
That's right. And there are high-ranking leaders within the South African government that were leading cheers about that. They were singing. There's a video going around. I'm not giving this guy any more press. I played him on another show, but I do want to show you what Cyril Ramaphosa said about white farmers who leave the country. We'll get into it right here. He was calling them cowards.
When you run away, you're a coward. And that's a real cowardly act.
It's not a cowardly act. They actually came here to seek asylum. And by the way, that's how asylum works. Asylum works if you're threatened by your government. If you're threatened, if your life is threatened by your government, your family's life is threatened by your government, you're allowed asylum from that government into a country that accepts such. And that's what we did. We accepted 59 South African settlers or farmers, I shouldn't say settlers, but South African farmers and their family with South African farmers and family in that 59 number here because they're being persecuted. And by the way, they want to be here. They want to be Americans when all is said and done. Meantime, after apartheid, and apartheid was not good. I'm not telling you that was a great thing, but if you think about it, the new governments, the Communist African National Congress took over. All of a sudden, South Africa is spiraling into the third world again and has become the carjacking capital of the world.
This is just another issue for the Trump administration to take on. It's like, don't we have enough going on? Like, Trump's in the Middle East right now, and you're starting to see, like, finally starting to see some form of de-escalation in the region. He's doing business deals left and right. He thinks it's going to be business deals that leads to diplomacy, which I love. I think that's exactly right. You make sure you pour money into those regions, and then they have long-term benefits, right? And they have long-terms, there's a reason to stay in a relationship with the US going forward because you're pouring in money, they're benefiting. And then this whole thing with war, a lot of it's due to poverty, right? Due to not having the resources in your own country. This guy, this president right here, he's driving out farmers from a country that needs, I don't know, food. So it's just completely backwards. But again, he is
He's
pandering.
he's stealing their land and he is pandering. In fact, there has been a veiled threat to white people. There's been several veiled threats to white people and get out of there, to kill the Boer song and everything. Well, how about this? This is the spokesman for the President Ramaphosa during an interview talking about a warning given to white people and the idea that white people are going to be killed in an ethnic cleansing.
Now, the way a sentence is structured, you say, we are not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now.
At least for
That
now.
means at some future date, we may call for the slaughter of white people. Is that correct?
Let's deal with that at that future date. I don't know what's going to happen.
So you're saying you are not ruling out that in the future, you may very well call for the slaughter of white people.
It may not be me.
Could it be you?
It could be me, yes, but it may not be me.
So it could be him, but it might not be. But we're not really calling for the slaughter of white people, but we're probably going to sometime in the future, or maybe even very soon. Is that what he's saying?
And this is like the worst witness in a court. Maybe, yes, could be, but may not. I mean, like, you can't dodge this question, and it's clear where you stand already by dodging the question. I don't understand how this guy was even elected. I mean, is that
Oh, he was
really the sentiment
spokesperson.
of the people?
This guy was appointed. This guy is appointed.
Oh.
The president, however, appointed him. So the guy that appointed him was elected.
Well, look, if this is the direction that we take, I think that the U.S. has to get involved in this one. It's not our fight, but it almost has to be the case where we have to start managing this situation. I don't like it. We've got too many fights going on right now overseas. Everyone is just so hot-headed right now. But we can't be in 2025 and having these type of conversations.
Exactly. It goes on.
Yeah, so it could be you. You could, at some future date, call for the slaughter of white people.
What will necessitate that?
You tell me.
I don't know. Why would I do that?
You've said you could do it in the future. Is that correct?
I can't guarantee that I can't do it or I won't do it.
So right now,
So I'm
if I
not
asked
ruling
you to
out that
pledge,
possibility.
If I asked you to pledge to say, I will never call for the slaughter of white people, would you make that pledge?
I will do it with ease.
Make that pledge.
Why would I do that?
I'm asking you to make that pledge.
I don't.
You
I
said
won't,
I will do it.
I won't do it.
See, he'll do it with these, but he won't do it. Okay. And it gets worse in America. You think about this, America is probably people vying for that job right now as spokesperson for Cyril Ramaphosa. Like this broad here, Ashley Allison, who used to work with the Biden-Harris campaign. And get a load of this one.
And part of that is that the people who are native to that land deserve their rightful land back. That is not what the Afrikaners actually want to have happen, which are the white Africans. And so who are not originally from Africa, who colonized South Africa also. And so that is what they are saying is discrimination. Now, if the Constitution in South Africa is discriminatory, they have their checks and balances in that land, just like we do. And
she has no idea, does she?
That is
no, this is how I talk when I don't know the topic and I'm on air and live. Like when you ask me about football and I'm live on air, I'm like, I'm just going to make stuff up. And also, and therefore, like I use all these buffer words. Absolutely, you're right. And I agree with that guy. Like you're just making BS up on the spot. Look at this guy's face. I mean, he's just like, what in the world are
Did-
you going on and on about? Do you understand that this is going to be used against you in the future?
Prep,
Um,
prep
Look,
is always
I
good.
get the anger and I get that there's this sentiment of like this constant victimhood. Look at us. We need to regain power. We're always the victims. People are always stealing from us. I get that that is ingrained. I don't think we're ever going to ever flush that out, no matter how much we give to victims. There's not enough money in the world that will make them feel whole. So this is something that we have to monitor, because I can see this easily spilling over into American politics. I can easily see what's happening over there, saying, well, this land is my land. I'm just going to take my gun or my machete and come to your house. That's where we are, Chris. Do you believe that? And we saw that with the gang violence in the past year as well, right? With the illegals coming in, knocking on doors, demanding to come into your home. Ask any farmer on the border where migrants are just crossing over their land every single day. And some of them are even walking inside to their homes and eating out of their refrigerators. Like, where are we?
Again, it's the sense of entitlement. It gets a little better. Listen to what this woman says.
Afrikaners don't actually like the land. They can leave that country.
They are. They're leaving to come here.
No, they can
These
leave and
refugees are
go.
coming here.
They can actually leave and go to where their native land is, which is probably Germany.
Okay, this is another unprepared. By the way, this is, first off, we're talking about multi-generational South Africans, Afrikaners. They've been there. They're actually native Afrikaans at this point. However, if you want to go by lineage and ancestry,
It's actually Dutch.
it's Dutch. Yeah, they're
Dutch.
Dutch settlers. And she is not prepared. She had to be corrected a little bit later on. The fact is, but she actually said, leave and go back to your country, she said. Now, if we did that to this angry black woman, says, why, if you don't like it here, why don't you leave and go back to your country? Imagine the backlash you'd hear.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Look, I mean, get her on all the time. This is exactly what prime roast is meant to do, is to roast people like her who can't even do a dig because she's not smart enough to know her history or to even know what she's talking about. She is just running her racist mouth. I mean, get her on all day long. She's great for our show. She's a star.
And this one too, I was a rando from, I guess, TikTok or wherever else, whatever the kids watch these days. This one is issuing a threat to white South Africans coming to the U.S. And there are more of these, but this is the funniest because watch her eyes and watch her smug self-satisfaction, which is disgusting.
Good morning. This is for the South Africans who are going to be entering the United States. This is just a public service announcement. I just wanted to make you aware that the Black people who were students during apartheid, we're grandmas and grandpas now, and we have the ear of Gen Z. Mm-hmm.
So you did the blinking, the self-satisfactory smile, the look on her face like, yeah, I got something over you. It seems to be a thing for the Dems and the left.
One more thing. I also want to let you know that our president, he has Secret Service, and you will not. Mm-hmm. I also want to tell you that Black people over here are empowered. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See that big smile on her face? She's issuing threats and saying, we're going to come after you people. Look, honestly, this woman's not coming after anybody because it would take a lot of effort for her to get up off of her couch from watching the Real Housewives of wherever she's watching from and 16 and pregnant on MTV or something like she always watches or something like that, and waiting for the just waiting for the free money to come in. I don't think she want to even get up and exert any energy, but she's probably thinking other people are going to do that, right?
I'm really sad, Chris. I am, because this is where we are. Our education has completely failed us. This is all about retribution. This has nothing to do with just being a people and human. I don't recognize it, and I wonder if social media is turning all of us into monsters, because she's getting likes and retweets and clicks on that. Okay. And she's getting reaffirmed that what she is saying, there's an audience for it and that people are congratulating her for being so free spirited. I mean, what she's actually saying is inciting violence towards a group of people who are seeking refuge here. Now, I know we could flip that on the other side and we could talk about the open borders and say, well, Angie, you've been trying to close that border since day one. Yes, but this is actual genocide that we're talking about that has been documented, that Chris had just played for our audience here. So, this is going to be really difficult to argue because, and I get it, this is a role reversal for Democrats now going, nah. Like, now what are you going to do, Republicans? Now are you going to open the border? So I totally get the double entendre here. I love it. I love it.
But they're wrong. You see, under Biden, the asylum situation, the asylum system was abused by people who come in, say, I'm seeking asylum. Uncle Joe, help me out. Used to be they'd have to wait in Mexico, at least when Trump was president for the first time. And then
Yeah.
when Biden came in, no, wait here. Then they found places to house them, and they had to be 5-star hotels in many instances, other places, and just displacing other people. It's absolutely horrible what happened. So he actually let them in, made them all stay here. The processing would take forever, so they'd be here for a long time. Doesn't matter if they were gang members or not, saying we're seeking asylum because my neighbor once threw rocks at my cat or something like that. That's not asylum. Asylum is when the government is trying to persecute you, kill you, throw you in jail for no reason other than political. Or they're coming after you because you know too much or something like that. That's why Russia gave Snowden some asylum. But having said that, asylum is meant for very serious cases, not because some jerk wants to come here and take our resources. And speaking of jerks that annoy people, before we close out, I have to play this moron once again. Shiri Thandar. This is the idiot that's making news because he wanted to impeach President Trump. Remember a couple weeks ago, he said, I am going to put out articles of impeachment against Donald Trump.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, and Al Green. I mean, there's a whole slew of Democrats that will never, ever, ever get this passed. But I guess it, maybe works towards their reelection efforts.
But this guy's a moron. The reason why he wants to impeach Trump is because he did some impeachable things. But what were they? He never really listed them. He just said things that he didn't like about Trump as far as policy. So we figured it was impeachable. In fact, it was so bad that Democrats who originally signed on to this pulled back because it was embarrassing for them. And what's more embarrassing is, get this. Well, watch this interview with him. A guy, I guess an independent journalist, a video guy, YouTuber, whatever he is. He catches up with this person, this Congress member with the probably worst toupee in American history. And ask some real questions about where he represented.
That's a toupee?
What are the 5 Gross Points cities?
Keep in mind, this is around where he represents here, so he should know the answers to this question.
Well, look, I'm not here to answer a quiz. I'm here to say that I'm going to fight for.
He doesn't know.
For the people of Detroit. I'm going to fight for my
Grosse Pointe
and all of the Grosse
Taylor.
Points and all of Taylor and every
E-course.
every part of the 13th district.
Let me just do this real quick. Grosse Pointe Park, Grosse Pointe Woods, Grosse Pointe Farms, and Grosse Pointe Shores. Okay. Right. On your campaign filings, it says occupation.
Oh, it's Kevin McCarthy.
Yours says United States government. Aren't you employed by the people of the United States?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, you fix that one. Okay, and finally, you're getting nailed with this one. The beagles. You abandoned the beagles, left them to die in their cages at your pharmaceutical testing.
Yeah, that's right. It was like over 100 beagles he left to die in their cages. And what kind of Democrat votes for a guy who doesn't know where he's living, doesn't know the places he represents, and leaves dogs, over 100 dogs to die cruelly?
Is that even possible? Didn't he have to campaign in those districts? Like, no. I don't get how he doesn't know this. It's a map. The whole thing about winning elections is it's a map.
Well, the problem is if you have a D next to you in certain districts, and Nancy Pelosi was actually right about this. You have a D next to your name, it's a safe district. That's it. Your name recognition's there. You just give people lip service, and they think you're altruistic and great because you have a D next to your name, and there's never going to be any competition in front of you. Even in your own primaries, it's going to be very difficult to supplant you. I know Cortez got the W, but she knocked on doors. It's going to take somebody else seriously putting that effort in to knock on doors to beat somebody like him or somebody like Cortez in the future. I don't think anybody's going to do it because it just takes too much effort.
The Democratic Party couldn't find anyone better than him, like anybody. I think my dog would be better than him. Like,
Well, your dog would vote against him for obvious reasons.
I mean, anybody else would be better. This guy, bad toupee, bad dress, doesn't know his district, doesn't even know what he's talking about. How are you asking him to pass bills and, I don't know, propose bills that turn into laws in our country? Chris, we're in so much trouble.
Actually, it makes sense considering something you said earlier in the program. This Thanderer character is probably watching from the sidelines thinking, well, the Democrats don't have a leader, and somebody has to take the spotlight, and maybe I could make a name for myself. So he's watching Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Jasmine Crockett, Rose DeLauro, people like that saying the stupidest things on earth and getting lots of attention, lots of popularity, getting the spotlight, and he's thinking, maybe if I do something as stupid as them, I can get the attention. And he's gotten a lot of attention. It did work. Maybe he's considering running as the running mate for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This would be the perfect Democrat ticket, the Ocasio-Cortez Thanderer ticket. I say you're right. Let's do it. Ocasio-Cortez and Thanderer, that'll be the perfect representation of the Democrat Party in 2028.
I'm trying to figure out what 70s show this guy's from. You would know this. You know pop culture. He's got the blue shirt. He just needs a big fly collars, like the bad toupee. Like, what show? Am I thinking Love Boat?
Nope. I'm thinking he's an extra in Welcome Back, Kotter. Of course, the same class as the Sweat Hogs.
I'm sorry I went there, but it's that kind of show. And we're out of time. Prime Roasters, thank you very much for joining us again. Episode 30. We made it to the big 3-0, Chris.
I was always told by my parents I'd never make it that far. Oh, that's just the regular age. Never mind.
Yeah, there's a bigger number coming up for me, but let's save that for another episode. Bye, guys. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mother, tell your mailman. I think we still have mailmen, right? Yeah, they still come to our house. Tell everybody about us. And I think we're growing in numbers. Thank you for everyone who join us every single week. And thank you for all the eyeballs. We're going to try to make podcasts great again. Thank you.